Welcome Home is a website by someone who calls themselves Clown. Welcome Home is a website devoted to a lost children's TV show that went by the name, you guessed it, Welcome Home. The website is colorful, happy looking, and at first peruse looks like someone who enjoys lost media and wanted to archive the history of a beloved show. However, we quickly find out that that is not exactly the case, and this website takes a sinister turn. Hey humans, it's Hannah. Welcome back to my channel. And I recently asked you guys if you had any recommendations for videos that you wanted me to do and topics that you wanted me to cover. And overwhelmingly, the response has been for Welcome Home. I have gotten so many requests for this in comments on other videos and the like. So it tells me that you guys really want me to talk about this. So here we are. However, I am not sorry that this was so requested because this has been the most interesting rabbit hole I've gone down in quite a while. This video is for you if you are interested in unfiction series and web series like this. A lot of people are calling this an ARG, alternate reality game. If you're interested in that stuff but too lazy to research it on your own and you want somebody to explain it to you, here I am. For people that are familiar with the story already but just want to know my opinions and thoughts, or I know there's a portion of my audience that just gets too scared to research these things on their own, so they appreciate when I cover it so that they can still experience it without getting too spooked. This video would also be a good option for you. Before we get into it, a portion of this video is sponsored, so I'm going to roll to the ad read and I will be right back with you. This portion of today's video is sponsored by Raycon. Raycon's #1 mission is to prove to the world that you should not have to pay an arm and a leg for quality sound and all the smart tech listening features. You can get a pair and a spare and still pay less than you would with some of those other more big name tech brands out there. Raycon earbuds have noise isolation, 3 customizable sound profiles, and awareness mode, which is my absolute favorite feature as I mostly wear earbuds when I'm out alone and walking my dog. So I love that Raycon keeps my safety in mind. There's also a ton of touch features so you don't have to stop what you're doing to switch to the next song or pause your podcast. I wear my Raycons every single day, multiple times throughout the day. I take multiple walks with my dog every single day, and on my walks, 100% of the time, you'll find me with my Raycons in, listening to a podcast or a YouTube video. And then while at home, I'm listening to lo-fi music on my Raycons while I work on making videos for you guys. You honestly don't even need to take my word for it because they have over 50,000 5-star reviews that speak for themselves. Click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/HannahTheHorrible to get 15% off your Raycon purchase today. That's buyraycon.com/HannahTheHorrible. Okay, I'm really sorry for the long intro. I try to keep my intros as short as possible, but for this one, there are a few disclaimers, and this is actually really, really important. I ask for this one time, please don't skip this part. The creator of this website simply goes by Clown. If you look at their social media, they say that their pronouns are they, he, but other than that, we know nothing about them. So Clown themselves has said and has been very open about the fact that this story is not done by any means. In fact, it is just getting started. Everything that we know so far, and that I'm going to go over this video, which is a surprisingly large amount of information, is really just scratching the surface. Clown has said that this is only about 5% of the story. So that's all to say, I am asking you guys right now, please do not message Clown privately with fan theories or, obviously harassment. You should never harass anybody, but specifically don't go to them with fan theories and other annoying bombarding messages like that. This project has blown up very, I think, unexpectedly for them, and I have heard rumors that Clown is overwhelmed. I can't find the post itself, but there's rumors going around that they are overwhelmed with how big this got so quickly before they could really dive into the story. And I just don't want my video to lead to dozens of messages to them, bombarding them with theories and other obnoxious things, because we don't want to add fuel to that fire. That's a good thing to keep in mind for any web series that is popular in the moment, of just like respecting the creator. I can pretty much guarantee you that most of the time when people go viral, they don't expect to go viral. And as somebody who's also had a video blow up, it's very, very overwhelming. And when I blew up that one time, it wasn't even as big as this website has. We also just don't want fan theories to go around so much that it accidentally bleeds into the real story unintentionally. Like, we don't want to interfere with the story as the creator intended either. What you can do to support the creator is go to their Ko-Fi. I think that's how you say it. It's either Ko-Fi or Ko-Fi. I don't know. But I will link to that right down below. I will have the link to the actual website of Welcome Home as well as their Ko-Fi account so that you can go give them a few bucks a month, or you can give them a one-time donation just to support what they're doing. And I'm sure that would really help them out. I will definitely be supporting them on there myself because I really, really love this project and this art that they're doing. And I just would really like to encourage you all to do it as well. Okay, thank you so much for bearing with me. Again, I apologize for the long intro. I hate intros as well. So let's get right into it. The website is called clownillustration.com/welcomehomeyou. When you go to this website, you'll be greeted by a colorful, inviting homepage with a retro background reminiscent of the 70s and the words "Welcome Home" in rainbowy, kind-looking letters, and our first beloved character named Wally Darling sitting on the right of these letters. Wally is smiling with crossed legs and casual, inviting body language. The first words you see on your visit are as follows: with a hop, skip, and a jump, you are ushered into the colorful, serendipitous world of Welcome Home. It only takes one stroll down the neighborhood to know this is just the nicest little place you've ever seen. Watch Wally and his colorful array of friendly neighbors learn about the vibrant world around them and take part in nonsensical fun. Under the welcome message is the first inkling of an explanation for what exactly we're getting into in this strange site. Welcome to the Welcome Home website. Feel free to explore our humble homepage and learn more about a puppet show now lost to obscurity. Thank you for visiting. There's a box for website updates. All you have to notice about this right now is that when the words "your fellow," the Y in "your fellow" is just like a little bit askew. Just keep that in mind for later. The bottom of the homepage shows a message from Welcome Home Restoration Team and our first illustration of all the Welcome Home characters that all seem to be looking at the website visitor counter, which, just to note, there's over 3 million on that visitor counter at this time. Everybody on Reddit and other internet places that are talking about this like have their own theories on what inspired these characters. Personally, for me, they look like different versions of characters from Sesame Street. I personally think that might have been an inspiration for this. Like, there's even a giant bird, which to me kind of reminds me of Big Bird, so love that. And these are illustration versions, but remember, this was a puppet show, supposedly. Now we're going to go to the first link in the homepage called simply Welcome Home. At the top of this page, it boasts, critically praised and financially successful, Welcome Home dominated its Saturday morning time slot with its colorful cast of puppets, entertaining and addictive stories, and lively sets unlike anything seen before. Surely a spectacle for audiences of all ages. We see this black and white photo and underneath an even more helpful description of what the heck we're even trying to look through here. So if anybody's confused up to this point, this should help. Welcome Home was an American children's television program created and produced by the Playfellow Workshop, which served as the studio's only production. Supposedly, its first episode aired on October 11th, 1969, and was broadcast onto an unknown channel until its last estimated air date sometime in 1974. So theoretically, this website is simply about a children's show that some people remember, but nobody can seem to find it. And this website is trying to basically bring this show back to life and bring it back to the community and those that used to watch it. There's another black and white photo of a character who seems to be working behind the counter of an old-timey looking grocery store, and the character appears to have 3 arms. We'll find out later that this is Howdy the caterpillar. Later in the description, it says, episodes usually began with Wally introducing the focus or theme for the day before coming across other characters who would join him on his escapades until the end of the day, which would signify the end of the show. All of the characters had notable recurring segments that were sprinkled through the entirety of the show's run, such as Eddie Deer creating arts and crafts, Sally Scarlett performing plays, or Wally Darling painting a picture with the help of other members of the cast. The viewer was often regarded as an additional neighbor, with Wally speaking to them on a regular basis. And it's here that we get our first glitch. Again, one of the first inklings that something is just not quite right. The last word Wally in this paragraph, now the W, is off kilter. Then, significantly, at the bottom of this page, there is an image carousel. There's a couple secrets hidden down there. First of all, we have this catalog-looking advertisement. It seems to be an advertisement for toys that are related to the show. So if you look down the carousel, we come to this image later of Frank holding a big jelly cake thing, very retro. He is blinking in one of these pictures, and it looks suspiciously like Morse code. Sleuths have determined that the Morse code is --, which is the letter D in Morse code. If you look back at that first image in the catalog, you'll notice there's several letters in the background indicating advertisements for the different corresponding toys at the bottom of that catalog ad. The D is the only letter that is scratched out. Another image shows both a color and a black and white version depicting characters Sally and Frank making a fairly sinister looking snowman. Under them, it says, "We'll be right back," innocently, as if it was a transition to a commercial break back in the day. But if the image is edited up and changed, the brightness and the contrast are changed, you'll find a hidden message that says, "May your home be." Looking through the carousel even more, there's a lot of illustrations of the characters on various Valentine's Day cards, which is very reminiscent of real life when we were kids. And, we had like our favorite cartoons on Valentine's cards that we would give out to the class. Like I remember getting Rugrat cards and our other beloved characters, things like that. It's very similar to that. Another very creepy drawing is this one. It's Wally peeking out of a window at us, and the text reads, "There he is," and he's smiling at us, but it definitely doesn't look as friendly as he looked before. It definitely looks a little bit more sinister here, and this picture creeps me out so much. It's kind of my favorite part of the story so far, honestly, because it's so subtle and it's not overtly creepy, but it's creepy, Another photo that I want to point out is this one called Wally's House, aka Home. It's not a home. Wally's house is literally named just Home. We'll discuss Home more later, but it seems to be the illustrator coming up with different possible versions of Home, and the windows are very much made to look like eyes, and in pretty much every photo, Home looks more or less terrified. It's a very anthropomorphized house, if you will. Okay, so that was the welcome home page of this website. We're going to move on to the About Us page. However, I do encourage you to look at the welcome homepage on your own time because there's a lot of photos in that carousel and they're all really, really cool and fun to look at. So please visit the website as well in your own time. Now for the About Us page. I'm not going to read these intro paragraphs because there's no secrets in them that I am aware of. The only thing to note from the top of the page is that the O in About Us is again a little off kilter. Again, just make a note for later. On this page is an FAQ. First is the question, who are you? And the answer is pretty normal, nothing to be suspicious of. But the second question, how did you begin your research into Welcome Home, is way more suspicious. The answer reads, to be honest, we were drawn in unexpectedly. All of the information found on this website was extracted from documents that had been uncovered in brightly colored envelopes. We are thankful to be the first to jumpstart this journey. And if you highlight this section with your cursor, there's a hidden message after the answer is done, and it says, but it hurts. Then, under the next question, what do the illustrations, writings, and advertisements look like when you received them? And the answer explains that they received the items that often look like this, but their volunteers happily restore them back to their original state to look more like this. And here's the dirty dark version I edited just so you could see the paint better, see it a little better. I don't think there's anything secret hidden in there. Again, not that I know of in all my research. So there's a gloved hand holding down the picture, and the picture looks to be on some sort of messy surface. Lots of attention to detail here. Under this is an example of how volunteers changed up Frank's spinning head concept to look better. If you look at the spines of the books behind Frank in the photo, internet sleuths have found that they say the following: "Hello, it's you know who. I'm your neighbor. Do you think about me? You do. I've felt you." Many believe that this is Wally trying to reach out to us, or that perhaps he's behind the restoration team that's supposedly making this website. Our first clue that perhaps Wally Darling isn't as innocent as he seems. Then the FAQ takes an even more sinister turn. Under the question, "Why did you make this website?" there's another hidden message, but you can read it if you highlight the text with your cursor yet again. The hidden message says, "When I unwrapped the first letter, I felt it. I heard it. Open, open, open. I want it out. I'm going to get it out." The regular answer is, "I hoped that this website would grab the attention of someone who has seen this show before and could tell us more about it. If this wasn't possible, then we wanted to be the first to showcase this lost piece of media to help spur on the research for its existence. Many of our guest book signatures have talked about seeing this show before, so this is a good sign." But then randomly it says, "It means it's inside you too then." And then there's a hidden message after that that says, "Does it hurt?" So creepy. So disturbing. I don't like it. I don't like it. Just kidding. I love it. There's one more question in this FAQ and the About Us page that I want to talk about. It says, "Do you know how many episodes of Welcome Home there are?" And the answer is, unfortunately, no. We have yet to receive footage from the show, nor a full catalog of all the episodes. We have estimated that the last air date for the show was in 1974, but only because it is the most recent date listed on a script. And then again, hidden, it says, "The numbers are so hard to read. Sometimes I can't see them." The neighborhood page. This is the coolest page on the website, I swear, at least in my opinion. So on this page, we see this adorable map of the town, and we get to see where everyone lives. Home is in the center, and it doesn't take a genius to notice that Home's eyes seem to be moving around the page as if to look at the different houses. Then if you click on each of the houses, it will go to a page where it will show you a little biography of the character that lives in the corresponding house. So if we click on this one, it goes to Frank's bio. I'm not going to read each bio to you word for word because I want people to explore the website on their own as well to support the creator. But as an overview, Frank, frankly, is the most serious character. He's known to always be frowning. He's the bookworm with a fascination for butterfly, and he's Julie's best friend. In this home is Julie Joyful, a rainbow monster creature. She is the upbeat, happy, and very cheery one. She's happy all the time. The next home is Sally Starlet. She's the rambunctious, hyper one. She's not very down to earth, and she's always willing to perform a play on stage for you. Next is Poppy Partridge. She's the resident bird, although we don't exactly know what kind of bird she is. She's the anxious, fearful character, always looking for what could go wrong in a given situation, which honestly relatable. But it's clear that the bird seems to be like the, "Oh no, let's not do that" type, the nervous one. Next is Eddie Deer. He's Holmes' mailman. He is known to be super kind, although he is forgetful and clumsy. Howdy's Place is Holmes' neighborhood bodega, owned and operated by Howdy Pillar. He is a caterpillar, as we talked about earlier, and he is also known to be extremely happy and friendly. Last, before Wally, our main character, we have Barnaby B. Beagle. He is a big blue beagle dog, and he's the resident class clown. He's always making great jokes and always being silly and trying to make others laugh. He's been depicted many times as Wally's best friend. Last, when we go to home in the center of the neighborhood, we get Wally Darling. He's the main character of the show, and he's described as the friendliest of them all, and also a pretty good painter/artist. He's happy to make new friends and help anybody who is in need. An interesting part of his bio talks about home, which I will read because it's pretty important to the story. A notable characteristic of Wally is his house named Home. Home is regarded as the ninth neighbor, but seemingly cannot speak, as illustrations show Home speaking only in onomatopoeias: creak, squeak, bang. Sources say, however, that this puppet's eyes could move through a hand crank on the other side of the prop facing away from the camera. Additionally, its doors, chimneys, and windows were supposedly very animated during episodes. It is implied that Home is the most lively house within the neighborhood, as none of the other houses seem to have eyes. Now, a couple things. First of all, in all of the random characters, when you click on their bios at the bottom, it just says, quote unquote, go back in rainbow colorful letters, and it goes back to the neighborhood map. But on Wally's page, instead, it says goodbye in all black letters to go back. I assume this is, again, a very small clue about how Wally and Home have a more sinister background to them than the other characters. My second point about this map is even more important. This is so creepy to me, but if you notice, all of the characters' biographies are written in the past tense. It's all Frank was this, Julie was that, etc. But when you go to Wally's biography, it's all in the present tense. Everything is Wally is this, Wally is that. It's so creepy. And to me, that implies that perhaps all the other characters are dead. There's 2 hidden links on this page as well. You have to use your tab key to find them for yourself. The first one is on the word your at the top, and it will lead to a URL of clown illustrations / just you. Under this, it just says you. I'll show you the picture, obviously. But under that, it just says, Wally is your best friend. The other link that we find is invisible, but it is under home. And this one leads to a URL that is /so below. It depicts a super creepy drawing of what looks like Wally at the altar of Home, and Home's eye is circling about. The phrase so below is a reference to the second verse of the Emerald Tablet, a set of Hermetic text from the 8th century, as above, so below. You've probably heard that before. If this picture doesn't give you chills after being immersed in this very colorful, happy website, took a 180 there. But then if you go to this website on your mobile device and not on a computer, you get something else. Home is instead levitating on your mobile device over what looks like a black hole with a gray spiral in the middle, which is a theme throughout this website. So now we're getting this kind of feeling that maybe not only is Wally possibly evil, but perhaps Home is actually even more evil and sinister and is perhaps the mastermind behind all of it and is maybe controlling Wally. That would be implied by that picture of Wally seeming to worship Home in that dark picture. But I gotta give a shout out to the attention to detail here. So it's a fun, whatever this is, it's fun. Having a good time. And finally, at the bottom of the neighborhood page is a disclaimer. Please note, this information is pulled from remnants found in illustrated pages and old merchandise. Information is subject to change and expand upon discovering new findings. Please keep in mind that the X in expand is off kilter. Moving on to the news page of the website, there's nothing extremely notable here, just a couple things. Notice that the E in news at the top is again askew and slightly higher than the rest of the words. Otherwise, this is just different updates, little blog posts from the restoration team. that includes a lot of exclamation points. And again, I just want to hit right here how well done this ARG is, or if it's not an ARG, whatever it is, because this is something that really hit me while I was reading the news page. There is a couple references in the news updates for people who are reading the website because they're interested in the show, should let them know of anything that they find out to help them with the restoration of the show. For example, in the January 15th, 2023 update, it says, unfortunately, we do feel like we should address some concerns we have seen and heard. There are a few setbacks in the coding of this website. If only Eddie Deer were here, could he use a computer? But not to worry, neighbor. It only seems to be a few graphics and text that are askew. Please ignore them and continue to peruse our happy home until we can get everything patched up. The reason this is so brilliant, in my personal opinion, is that Clown, the creator of this, has set this up to be plausible. If this were real, like let's just say this was not a series and this really was hypothetically a website trying to restore this lost show, we would be trying to help the restoration team find answers, right? We would be looking for clues on the website and other places and trying to send those tips in. So the update about like, oh, don't mind the weird stuff on the website makes sense in that context because they're asking for us to tip them off to those kind of things. But it also makes sense in the context of it being an ARG or an nonfiction series, because we are finding these things as being part of the story, whereas the hypothetical restoration team wouldn't theoretically know about us looking at this like a story. I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't know. It makes sense in my head. Basically, the clues on the website make sense in both contexts, whether this really was something trying to restore an old TV show or whether it is a story or a series. And I just think that is so cool. I don't know. It makes it very more immersive and more realistic in my personal opinion. All right, moving on to the guest book. This is a fun one. So this is the last main page of the site. It does appear that you can really submit your own comment to the guest book. At the top of this is a drawing of Wally and Barnaby, and Wally seems to be drawing in the guest book with a red crayon. When you visit the actual guest book and click the link at the bottom, there's a ton of messages, and some of them really do seem to belong to random visitors of the site. However, there are secrets on here as well, and clearly this is also part of the story. There's drawings on some of these entries, and since red is a prominent color on these, we assume that Wally drew them as a way to communicate with us, implied by him drawing in the guest book on the previous page. So if you right click on any of these drawings and go to save it, or you look at the file name of each drawing says something different, and it seems to be a way that Wally is sending us messages. Some of them are random and don't seem to mean anything, but others appear to be sinister or at least significant. There are pages and pages of this guest book. There's like 8 pages and tons of these messages. I'm not going to go over all of them. Again, I encourage you to go deep dive them more on your own if you want. But here's a few of them. When someone named Emily asked, "Why do you like eye contact?" Wally drew a spiral, which is a common theme throughout the website, like we've talked about. And the photo title is, "So you will know that I am looking at you, neighbor. I am talking to you." Then another comment from someone named Millie says, "What lovely houses." And over this is a illustration of home, and the image title says, "I love home. Home is my friend." Nosifo, I think that's how you say it, says, "Hiya, Wally. You and your friends sure seem like a bunch of wonderful folks. What's your favorite memory with each of your friends?" And the drawing over this, the file name says, "No memory." Then Silly McBilly's note says, "I love you." Notice that the drawing as a response to this, the drawing "I love you," the V is again slightly off from the rest of the letters. Wally seeming to imply in various places on the website that he has no memory of what's going on is very scary. It does make me wonder if he is trapped somewhere or somehow. Okay, so that is the website itself. Like, those are all the main elements of the actual website. You've probably caught on by now that throughout this video, I've been telling you about these random letters that have been askew from the rest of the letters. These letters are X, O, V, Y, E, and W. If you go back to the website URL, clownillustration.com/ and you put those letters in. So somebody on TikTok figured out that there's like 720 combinations of those letters. So internet sleuths, this is not me, internet sleuths have been finding the combinations that actually lead somewhere. And just a warning, this is when this gets very, very creepy, because the combination of these letters sometimes leads to other hidden websites. Like I said, credit for these all go to internet sleuths, Reddit, and the like. I got this particular part from somebody named Daphne Fama, who wrote an article about Welcome Home, but others have found these as well. It's not just Daphne. So let's go over some of these. So if you go to clownillustration.com/ EOVWXY, you have to wait. It almost looks like it's just a blank page, like you went to an invalid address, but then suddenly a TV shows up and there's just like white noise playing. People have found that interference can be heard at minute 16:13, 18:22, and 22:15. At 41 minutes and 6 seconds, eyes appear. If you go to clownillustration.com, XYWVOE, you get an error message. If you click on the phone on this error message, it goes to a web page that's an audio clip, and you're going to hear Wally singing Beautiful Dreamer with like weird background noise. Like, it doesn't sound like normal Beautiful Dreamer. It sounds like nervous, upset Beautiful Dreamer. It's very odd. At the end of this clip, Wally says, "That's all Barnaby taught me. Do you like it?" Home is believed to respond as there is a series of knocks and creaks. Many believe that Home is spelling out Morse code, and the Morse code is saying, "I do." This makes sense because Wally then says, "That's good, I think." So I'm going to play that clip for you now. Again, warning, it's very creepy, but I do find it so good. It's so good.
Wake up to me. Starlight and dewdrops are waiting for thee. Sounds of the wind heard in the day. Walked by the moonlight, heaven passed away. Beautiful dream, played my song. Lost while I really was so truly deep. Gone are the cares of life's busy throng. Beautiful dreamer, awake unto me. Beautiful dreamer, awake unto me. Ha 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 ha. I don't know the other words. That's all Barnaby taught me. Do you like it? That's good, I think.
All right, the next one is /YWXOEV. This is a picture depicting home with eyes superimposed across its windows and the word open beneath it. If you just watch this for a few seconds and let it play, it suddenly stops on the most sinister set of eyes and just stares at you. It's so creepy, and I can't figure out what the open part means, and I don't think anybody, not that I could find in my research, I couldn't find anybody else who has figured out what open means, and there's no link. You can't click on open, even though it kind of looks like a button. So I have no idea about that one. /VOYWEX leads to an animated image of Wally's eyes and the message, "Hello, you're there. I can't see you. Do you see me? Then stay quiet." If you turn up the exposure on this image, you will see Wally's full face. And then last that we have found so far is /WOXYVE. And this is a series of uncut images of what seems to be a script for the welcome home and a just picture of all the welcome home neighbors. There's a GIF in the middle that lingers on Wally, and every cycle, Wally's like pupils, like he gets closer and closer to us. It's very unsettling. The GIF finally ends in a red background without Wally in it at all. And here's a complete image of the script in case you're curious what this page looks like. Okay, so that's everything that we know so far, at least everything that I could personally find by looking through. I know that if some people are familiar and they're watching this, you're going to be like screaming at me to find the other website through Clown's personal Tumblr. There is like an about welcome home that is way less immersive and everything, and there's a lot more creepy pictures on there. However, it's like, I think, as far as I know, considered non-canon by Reddit and other users, so I don't think it's actually involved or intended to be involved in the real story at this time, so I'm not going to go over that right now. However, you can certainly find it on your own time if you are very interested. Some of the pictures on there are, I mean, it just gets like darker and darker and darker. I'll just say that. So here's my theory so far. I am going to tell you my theory on the whole thing so far, but again, just like full disclosure, this is just like my first reaction after going through all of this so in depth, like what I think at this time could possibly be what's going on. Like I said at the beginning, can't stress this enough, but the creator has said themselves that the story hasn't really come into fruition yet. And so everything that's out there right now are simply just that. They're just theories right now. Again, it's important to not speculate too much. And when we do speculate, which of course we have the right and we're going to theorize, we can't help it, especially as internet people who are interested in creepy things. But still, just like respect the creator and don't bombard him with stuff. So, okay. My personal interpretation, my personal opinion is that Wally Darling is a slave, so to speak, to home. This is clear by that satanic looking photo of Wally seeming to be kneeling before home as if on home's altar, as well as Wally singing like Beautiful Dreamer to home and then like asking nervously if home likes it and stuff like that. It makes me feel like Wally is serving home and home is controlling Wally. I personally believe that all the other characters are dead, as home has either possessed them or killed them. And this is very clear that all their bios are in the past tense. But then Wally is in the present tense. So I think Wally is somehow the only one who survived, and we don't exactly know why. I think that Wally is kind of being controlled by home. If he's aware of it, he doesn't want to be taken like the others, and he's trying to serve home so that home, to stay on home's good side. Or Wally isn't even aware of this at all, and home has completely, possessed him, for lack of a better word. Which, if that's the case, it would explain why Wally has no memory of a lot of the show. However, I do think Wally is remembering or starting to remember, because I think that Wally Darling sent Clown the envelopes full of the colorful remnants of the show, all destroyed and covered with paint. I think it's possible that Wally did this in secret as a cry for help to the outside world, like he was having a lucid moment where he remembered what was going on, and so he was doing this when he could, like it was a cry for help. Or it's the opposite, and Home forced Wally to send these to Clown as a way to do Home's bidding, and Home wants the show out in the world, but the motives for that are unknown at this time. And I'm not sure what the motive would be, considering the other characters, again, in my theory, are no longer with us. There's also tons of other theories out there to read in the meantime while you're waiting for the story to continue that are really fun. Don't take my word as gospel. I have no freaking idea what the real story is. That's just my personal interpretation and opinions based on what I know so far. Okay, friends, that is going to be it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope I satisfied all the requests that I got to talk about this. Just one last reminder to please go support the creator on Ko-Fi. The links will be in the description right below the video, or at the very least, don't bombard them with messages that may be stressful. That's all I ask. Please like the video to help the channel, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you so much to all of our patrons, as always. Our top tiers are Colin Holmes, The Deck of Cards, Michelle Valdovinos, Tom L., Little Kittle Cat, Mitchell Schaefer-Meyer, Mike, Alice Paul, Brittany Phillips, Willow Winchester, Bambi, Momo Neon, Philip J, Marita 144, Sage K, Elderly Hipster, Reese Rolls, The Puppy Hag, Rebecca Jackson, Toby, Carter, Kawakan Anime and Gaming Convention, Sonder, Sarah the Crazy Fish Lady, Blood for the Koi, Larkrar, Maxie, Ashley Danielle, Ellison Luna, Julietta, Cece Picard, Sophia Wood, A Bunny apparently, Leon Vanek, Destiny Riley, Literally Lacey, Elliot Fink, I Am in Your Walls, Habromania, Cyberdog Investigations LLC, Vicky Cat, Amy B, Tickerch, MX Carmia, Dead Without the E, Ball, and Olivezilla.